Chosen one, listen closely, because something extraordinary is unfolding in your life, and the silence around you is louder than any voice that has ever opposed you. Those who once jeered, mocked, and plotted in the shadows, believing they held power over your reputation, your peace, and your purpose, are no longer able to speak. Their words, once aimed like arrows to wound, are now restrained, bound by forces far greater than human understanding. This is not by chance. This is not luck. This is divine orchestration. Heaven keeps records. Every whispered accusation, every private attempt to manipulate, every scheme laid against you has been noted and cataloged in ways that the human eye cannot see. What they believed were secret plans were never truly hidden. The universe, and God Himself, saw every move. In the natural, there may be legal boundaries that now hold them in check. But in the spiritual realm, these boundaries are a hedge of protection, a sanctuary of divine shielding around your name, your heart, and your destiny. The voices that once rose against you, claiming to speak truth but fueled by envy and fear, are silenced not through your effort or retaliation, but through the precision of divine justice. The instigator, the one who orchestrated chaos, rallied a crowd, and sought to undermine your calling, now finds themselves isolated. The very people who once celebrated their schemes, who laughed along with their narrative, have scattered. They vanish like shadows under sudden light, revealing the truth. Their influence was never truly theirs to wield. What once seemed like power is now exposure. What once felt like momentum is now collapse. The community that rallied around deceit has broken apart, leaving the leader to face the weight of their own actions alone. This moment is not simply a turning of events, it is a revelation. It is the universe displaying in vivid clarity what it means to be covered by God. And yet, this silence is not a void. It is filled with opportunity, with blessing, with vindication. It is the quiet before your rise, the stillness that allows your peace to overflow, your joy to become undeniable, and your authority to manifest without interference. This is not applause from those around you. This is the affirmation of heaven, an acknowledgement that your life is protected, that your calling is secure, and that no scheme, rumor, or act of deceit can diminish your destiny. Every whisper that sought to harm you has been transformed into evidence of truth, a witness to the authenticity of your journey. And now, in this sacred pause, you are free to step into the fullness of what has always been yours. Psalm 23:5 reminds us, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." This is your moment, chosen one. The table is set, and your cup is not merely full, it is overflowing with blessings, favor, and the affirmation of divine authority. Those who sought to harm you are forced to watch as what they tried to destroy now flourishes before them. Every plan they executed, every word they uttered, every attempt to manipulate or intimidate, now serves as a foundation upon which your victory is built. The very light of your resilience shines brighter against the backdrop of their silence, revealing the futility of opposition and the unshakable power of alignment with God. This introduction is an invitation to pause, to recognize the significance of the moment, and to embrace the truth of your calling. You are not simply a survivor of betrayal, envy, or deceit. You are a chosen vessel, marked by integrity, protected by heaven, and positioned to rise above every scheme aimed at your destruction. This is the beginning of understanding that divine protection is not passive. It is active, strategic, and precise. Your adversaries are silenced, but your voice, your destiny, and your purpose are louder than ever. Step into this awareness. Reclaim your peace. Celebrate the silence that testifies not to emptiness, but to your unassailable strength, your divine favor, and the unfolding of a destiny that no earthly opposition can ever derail. As the silence settles, it is no accident that the very ones who sought to harm you now face the unraveling of their own schemes. The instigator, once surrounded by a crowd eager to amplify their plans, now stands alone, exposed and confronted by the very structures, both legal and spiritual, that they thought they could manipulate. Those who cheered them on, who whispered encouragement from the shadows, have scattered, unable to sustain the illusion of power they once relied upon. What they mistook for momentum was always fragile, because it was built on deception, not truth. And truth, as it always does, has a way of surfacing with undeniable force. Every conspiracy, every whisper, every manipulation becomes part of the record. What they believed were hidden moves, carefully orchestrated in secrecy, now serve as evidence against them. The digital traces, the documented interactions, the patterns of orchestrated defamation, all of it emerges not to punish you, but to reveal the authenticity of your life and the emptiness of their efforts. This is the extraordinary alignment of divine and legal justice. What they meant for harm is transformed into testimony. What they tried to bury is now the foundation for vindication. You did not fight back with retaliation, nor did you engage in counterplots. You simply remained true to your calling, consistent in your integrity, steadfast in your character. And that steadfastness, that refusal to be drawn into their chaos, becomes their undoing. Your authenticity, your quiet commitment to what is right, speaks louder than any accusation or manipulation ever could. Isaiah 54:17 declares with clarity and certainty, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." This is more than reassurance, it is the spiritual law at work. Every effort to distort your name, to sabotage your career, or to manipulate relationships has failed because divine authority governs outcomes that human hands cannot control. What once looked like advantage for them is now exposure. Every false accusation they launched, every rumor they spread, has not only failed to harm you, but has become a record of their own moral and spiritual bankruptcy. And here, the convergence of earthly law and divine justice becomes evident. Legal consequences, when aligned with spiritual protection, serve as confirmation that no falsehood, no manipulation, no smear campaign can escape accountability. The very institutions that exist to uphold truth in the natural realm now reflect the order that heaven has always maintained in the spiritual realm. The instigator may have believed their actions were clever, unnoticed, or beyond reach, but every secret move has been documented, every attempt at concealment tracked. What they thought was control is now collapse. The irony is striking. In trying to destroy you, they have unraveled themselves. Their obsession with your perceived flaws, their fixation on diminishing your purpose, only magnified their own weaknesses. Every lie spoken against you became evidence. Every plot hatched in secrecy became a record of intent and character. And the crowd that once rallied behind them, complicit in the manipulation, has either vanished or been forced to step aside, unable to maintain false loyalty when confronted with the weight of truth. This is divine justice in motion. It is not merely punishment, it is revelation. It is the alignment of every spiritual principle and natural law to ensure that your integrity is honored, your peace preserved, and your vindication visible. You did not need to retaliate. The system, both seen and unseen, has done it for you. And in this sacred unfolding, you understand that what they meant for harm is now the very instrument of your elevation. Your rise is not a reaction, it is a testament. It is the living proof that no weapon, no rumor, no orchestrated scheme can prosper against someone covered by God. As the wheels of divine justice continue to turn, the ripple effects on those who sought to harm you become undeniable. The momentum they once enjoyed, the seeming confidence, the influence, the admiration, begins to collapse under the weight of truth, pride and stubbornness. The very traits they leaned on to justify their attacks now accelerate their downfall. Each refusal to acknowledge reality, each insistence on controlling narratives, becomes a self-imposed trap. Like Pharaoh chasing Israel into the Red Sea, their relentless pursuit of dominance over you only leads to exposure and defeat. The very power they thought they commanded was borrowed, fragile, and incapable of withstanding the forces of divine alignment. The community that once surrounded them, echoing their narratives and validating their schemes, now begins to step back. Silence replaces applause. Absence replaces presence. One by one, they withdraw, unable to maintain allegiance to a cause rooted in deceit. Their loyalty was never true. It was performance, carefully curated for validation and influence. And as they peel away, the stark truth of their choices becomes visible to all: manipulation over authenticity, projection over accountability, fear over courage. The collapse is both social and spiritual, for their influence depended not just on numbers but on the unseen spiritual energy that once seemed to propel them forward. Now that energy is gone, leaving a hollow echo of what was once celebrated. In this unraveling, the masks they wore begin to slip. The narcissism, the projection, the constant need to control perception all become exposed. What they tried to hide about themselves is revealed through every false accusation, every attempt to undermine your integrity. Their words, meant to harm you, instead illuminate their own insecurities, their own moral failures. Every claim they launched becomes a confession about their own character. And the very audience that once believed in their story begins to see the reflection of their true nature. What was once charisma and influence now reads as desperation and insecurity, and those who once cheered are left grappling with the reality of the deception they enabled. Meanwhile, you remain unshaken. Your integrity, unwavering through the storms, shines as a contrast to their unraveling. Your alignment with divine purpose acts as an unmovable foundation, a constant amidst the chaos. You did not chase after validation. You did not orchestrate retaliation. You simply held your ground, authentic and faithful, letting truth and righteousness flow through your life without compromise. And it is this steadfastness, this quiet consistency, that transforms what could have been merely survival into spiritual victory. Your presence alone becomes a mirror, reflecting the weaknesses they refuse to address in themselves. The profound lesson of this season is that the collapse of opposition is rarely instantaneous, but always thorough when guided by divine justice. What they attempted to weaponize against you, their pride, their manipulations, their networks, is now the mechanism of their exposure. And while they scramble to maintain appearances, you stand firmly in your purpose, witnessing the dismantling of lies and the revealing of hidden motives. Their social networks, once an instrument of harm, now amplify their isolation. Their spiritual influence, once felt in subtle pressure, now fades as your light, uncorrupted and unshakable, takes center stage. This is the sacred unfolding of truth. While they fall, you rise. While their illusions crumble, your integrity strengthens. Their stubbornness becomes their undoing, and your alignment with divine purpose becomes the unmistakable evidence of protection, favor, and elevation. Every withdrawal, every exposed lie, every collapsed influence is a confirmation that you were never vulnerable. You were always shielded, always guided, and always set apart. In this sacred unraveling, you see that the battle was never against you, but against their own shadow. And in that revelation, your victory is made complete. As the unraveling of your opposition continues, a deeper layer begins to surface, one far closer to the heart than you may have imagined. The scheming was not limited to distant adversaries or casual observers. Some of the betrayals came from those who shared your space, your trust, even your blood. Family members or insiders, cloaked in the guise of concern or love, had woven intricate webs of manipulation. Every gesture, every word, every seemingly innocent interaction was layered with ulterior motives. They sought to weaken you emotionally, legally, and financially, to create a landscape where you could be controlled or discredited. But in their pride and overconfidence, they underestimated the divine protection encasing your life. These attempts to sabotage, to manipulate, to dictate your path, now falter under the unyielding weight of truth. The strategies designed to entrap you, contracts, inheritance disputes, legal intimidation, social coercion, begin to crumble as the reality of their intentions emerges. What was meant to deceive and dominate becomes evidence of their own greed and ambition. The very actions they took to destabilize you are now turning back upon them, highlighting the disparity between their moral compass and yours. You did not retaliate in kind. You did not engage in schemes to mirror their deception. Instead, you held firm, your integrity unshaken, allowing truth to manifest organically. And in this process, what they hoped to bury, your reputation, your credibility, your divine assignment, is illuminated in full. Legal and spiritual forces converge to solidify your vindication. Every whisper, every hidden conversation, every documented attempt at manipulation now stands as testimony against those who sought to undermine you. Where once you may have felt powerless, the systems of justice and divine oversight have ensured that the scales are balanced. Their misdeeds are not only visible but accountable. And as this accountability takes shape, it is evident that their influence, no matter how deeply rooted, cannot withstand alignment with truth. Every attempt to cloud the facts, every effort to obscure the record, only serves to highlight the contrast between their ambition and your righteousness. Amidst this revelation, the clarity of genuine support becomes undeniable. Those who truly stood with you, often in the shadows where acknowledgement was unnecessary, are now revealed as authentic allies. Their loyalty was never contingent on your visibility, your success, or their own gain. They are the ones whose presence is steadfast, whose encouragement is sincere, and whose intentions are pure. In contrast, those who clung only to appearances, who sought proximity for personal benefit, now fade away, exposed for the opportunism that guided them. The separation of authentic supporters from false allies is both natural and sacred, for it preserves the integrity of your journey and ensures that only those aligned with your purpose accompany you forward. This season of exposure is not merely about unveiling betrayal. It is a divine calibration. What was intended to weaken you becomes a catalyst for elevation. Every manipulation, every hidden agenda, every attempt at control that failed becomes a testament to the unshakable power of alignment with God's will. The very stage they thought they controlled now becomes your platform. Their collapse is a witness to the truth of your perseverance, and their fading influence emphasizes the sacred nature of those who remain. In this unfolding, you see a profound spiritual principle. Divine elevation often requires the revelation of hidden opposition, the clearing away of deceit, the unveiling of selfish motives, and the natural withdrawal of opportunistic supporters are not punishments, they are confirmations. They confirm that your path is set apart, that your rise is protected, and that your purpose cannot be hijacked by human schemes. The betrayal you endured, though painful, has become the instrument of clarity, revealing who is aligned with your vision and who is not. Now, as the truth stands fully exposed, you can embrace your elevation without hesitation. You can step into relationships, opportunities, and responsibilities with discernment, knowing that those who remain are chosen by alignment, not convenience. The deception of the past is a testimony to the power of divine orchestration, and the clarity it brings ensures that your future unfolds in a space purified of manipulation, anchored in authenticity, and elevated by purpose. Your journey is no longer dictated by the shadowy ambitions of others. It is guided by divine intention, and every victory, every step forward, is a reflection of that sacred protection. As the hidden betrayals are exposed and the manipulations of others collapse, a remarkable shift begins to occur, a transition from mere vindication to divine promotion. This is where restoration transforms into elevation, where surviving opposition evolves into inheriting authority. The trials you endured were never arbitrary. They were carefully calibrated by divine design to prepare you for a higher level of influence and spiritual inheritance. What was meant to humiliate or destroy you has become the very foundation upon which your elevation is built. Every challenge, every false accusation, Every moment of suffering has been recorded, acknowledged, and refined into fuel for your rise. This is not simply a matter of justice being served. It is a demonstration of promotion in its purest, most divine form. The same hands that once sought to strip you of dignity, credibility, or position are now the very hands through which God orchestrates your elevation. Blessings are no longer withheld, they are flowing into your life with clarity and abundance. Opportunities that were previously blocked by the schemes of others are now opening effortlessly. Doors that were once locked have been thrown wide, revealing pathways to influence, leadership, and impact that were always intended for you. Your spiritual inheritance is not just about material or social restoration, it is about authority, alignment, and the sacred trust of carrying God's purpose with integrity. Every weapon formed against you, every lie whispered behind your back, every wound inflicted upon your soul has become a building block for your testimony. What others intended for harm now serves as evidence of resilience, character, and divine favor. Psalm 91:4 declares that you are protected under God's wings, a shelter in the storm, a sanctuary untouched by the schemes of man. That protection has not only preserved you, it has elevated you to a position where your influence carries weight in realms both natural and spiritual. Where the enemy sought to diminish your light, it now shines brighter than ever, illuminating the path for others who once walked in darkness. The authority you now carry is tangible. It is a spiritual inheritance that flows from obedience, integrity, and perseverance. Romans 12:19 reminds us that vengeance belongs to God, and in surrendering the desire to retaliate, you have gained a power no human hand could grant. Your calm, steadfast faith has transformed every setback into leverage, every criticism into validation, and every tear into a seed for future fruitfulness. As a result, your steps now carry resonance. Every decision you make, every word you speak, every space you occupy is imbued with divine purpose, drawing alignment, opportunity, and support from sources that were previously hidden or inaccessible. Blessings in your life are not merely replacements for what was lost. They are amplified, refined, and multiplied. Resources, relationships, influence, and spiritual insight all return sevenfold, not simply as restitution, but as an enhancement far beyond what was taken or threatened. Your past pain becomes your platform, your endurance becomes a beacon, and your integrity becomes a standard that others aspire to emulate. Those who once sought to intimidate or control you are now witnesses to your ascent, their inability to obstruct your rise a testimony to the power of divine alignment. This promotion is not for applause, recognition, or earthly approval. It is for authority, for stewardship, and for the fulfillment of your divine assignment. The elevation you are experiencing is a testament to the principle that suffering is never wasted, that endurance is never overlooked, and that alignment with God's purpose always results in supernatural favor. The spiritual inheritance you carry, protection, wisdom, influence, and legacy is secured, sealed, and irrevocable. Those who once tried to obstruct you can envy, speculate, or resist, but they cannot diminish what God has ordained. In this moment, you are stepping fully into your sacred authority. You are more than vindicated. You are elevated. What they tried to silence now amplifies your voice. What they tried to block now accelerates your progress. And what they attempted to steal now becomes the foundation of your spiritual and natural inheritance. Your life is no longer measured by survival, it is measured by the weight of your testimony, the scope of your influence, and the authority entrusted to you by divine design. Having experienced the profound elevation that comes from divine promotion, the next step is learning to live fully in purpose and alignment. This is a season where vindication transitions into practical empowerment, where the victories you have endured are not merely celebrated, but strategically stewarded to expand influence, authority, and spiritual impact. Every breakthrough, every open door, and every blessing that flows into your life is a living testimony, a visible reminder that God's hand is orchestrating your journey. You rise not through retaliation, not through competing narratives, but through the quiet, unshakable power of integrity aligned with divine purpose. Now, the keys to new opportunities, influence, and spiritual authority are being placed firmly in your hands. These are not symbolic gestures, they are actual assignments and responsibilities that come with a higher calling. Each key represents a door once locked by opposition, a sphere of influence once blocked by fear or sabotage, and a spiritual authority that was always yours, but required the refinement of trial to fully inhabit. Your rise now becomes measured and intentional. The same power that protected you in the storm now empowers you to move with discernment, to act with wisdom, and to steward resources, relationships, and opportunities in alignment with God's design. In this elevated season, it is crucial to embrace the concept of measured victory. Celebration is warranted, yet it must be tempered with humility. The purpose of your triumph is not to humiliate those who opposed you, nor to seek applause from onlookers. Rather, it is to honor the one who orchestrated your protection and to exemplify the principles of stewardship and obedience. Your authority is amplified when it is exercised with grace, patience, and a clear understanding that influence is a sacred responsibility, not merely a reward for perseverance. Every step, every decision, and every public action now carries the weight of precedent and the potential to inspire others. As you navigate this season, understand that your victories are multipliers. Each advancement, each unlocked door, and each spiritual breakthrough becomes a testimony for those who witness it. Even from afar, they are living proof that alignment with divine purpose produces tangible results, that endurance in the face of opposition cultivates spiritual authority, and that integrity transforms trials into platforms for influence. Your life is now a stage where the narrative is no longer defined by your adversaries, but by your steadfastness, your clarity, and your ability to steward the gifts entrusted to you. This is also a time for intentional focus on legacy. The elevation you have attained is not merely for personal gain, it is a conduit for protecting, guiding, and uplifting others. Every action, every word, and every choice now carries the potential to impact not only your immediate sphere, but also future generations. Those who were once vulnerable to manipulation, deceit, or betrayal can now witness a model of resilience, faith, and spiritual authority. Your alignment is a protective force, a light that clarifies paths and breaks cycles of harm that others may have endured in the shadows. Measured victory requires balance. It demands patience, discernment, and constant alignment with the one who has orchestrated your path. The power now flowing into your life is substantial, yet it carries responsibility. Use it to build, to inspire, and to cultivate environments of integrity. Avoid the temptation to retaliate, to boast, or to dominate. The most profound authority is always exercised quietly, with confidence grounded in divine backing rather than human validation. As you continue to rise, remember that your steps, words, and influence are all keys to doors once closed. Every blessing and breakthrough is not an endpoint. It is an invitation to fulfill a greater purpose. Through humility, stewardship, and unwavering alignment with God, your life becomes the clearest testimony that victory is not about overpowering others, but about walking fully in the purpose and authority that was always yours. Your rise, measured and guided, transforms your story into a legacy of light, empowerment, and divine testimony. As we arrive at this moment in your journey, it is time to pause, reflect, and allow the weight of everything you have endured to settle into clarity and understanding. This is the sacred space where vindication meets purpose, where the trials you have faced are no longer burdens but stepping stones to a higher calling. It is here that you are invited to acknowledge not only the protection you have received, but also the restoration and alignment being actively unfolded in your life. In these moments of reflection, the victories that were once unseen and uncelebrated now become undeniable markers of divine orchestration. Your endurance, your integrity, and your unwavering faith have not gone unnoticed. The silence around you is no longer emptiness. It is confirmation of the truth that God has fought for you, shielded you, and positioned you for a future brighter than what you could have imagined. This moment calls for guided prayer, a declaration of release, restoration, and divine alignment. As you breathe deeply, allow yourself to surrender every lingering pain, every betrayal, and every attempt that was made to derail your purpose. Lay it at the feet of the one who has always defended you, who saw every injustice, every lie, and every scheme that sought to diminish your calling. Let your heart open to the truth that these challenges were never final. They were preparatory, refining, and ultimately redemptive. As you speak these prayers, imagine the years and dreams lost to circumstance, to deception, or to manipulation, being fully restored. Joel 2:25 reminds us that God promises to restore the years that the locusts have eaten, a divine compensation not just in quantity, but in quality, refinement, and blessing. Allow that promise to resonate deeply within you, knowing that every moment of suffering is being transformed into fertile ground for your next harvest. As this restoration takes root, you are encouraged to affirm boldly and publicly, "I'm covered and called." This simple declaration is far more than words. It is a spiritual alignment, a proclamation of divine authority, and a protective boundary over your life. It reminds you and others that your journey is not dependent on human approval or circumstance, but on the unwavering support of the divine. Speaking this truth aloud strengthens your resolve, solidifies your identity in God, and invites the community around you to witness your alignment with purpose. It also serves as a beacon for those walking similar paths of trial, showing them that protection, vindication, and elevation are possible for those who remain steadfast. Practical wisdom flows naturally from this affirmation. Guard your light fiercely. Protect your energy and your focus from distractions, manipulations, and those who would attempt to dim your shine. Invest only in authentic connections, relationships built on integrity, loyalty, and mutual respect. The trials you endured have revealed the allies who truly matter, and it is in nurturing these bonds that your influence and impact will grow exponentially. Let your actions, words, and presence reflect the authority and grace that now define your life. Rise boldly in your purpose, not with arrogance, but with disciplined stewardship of every opportunity, every gift, and every breakthrough that has been entrusted to you. Finally, this moment is also an invitation to continue walking in guidance and encouragement. As you reflect, affirm, and act in alignment, consider subscribing for ongoing spiritual insight, motivational teachings, and prophetic encouragement. Let this channel serve as a place where your faith is nourished, your calling is reinforced, and your journey toward elevation is supported by a community of like-minded individuals. Your story of endurance, restoration, and empowerment is not only a personal testimony, it is part of a larger narrative that inspires, uplifts, and instructs others in their walk with purpose. As you carry this reflection forward, remember that every victory, every restored dream, and every authentic relationship is evidence that the divine orchestrates your life with precision, justice, and love. You are covered, you are called, and your next season is already unfolding. Stand in it, rise in it, and let the light of your testimony shine boldly, guiding others and affirming that the promises of God are active, real, and unstoppable.